Beep beep. Hello folks, how y'all doing tonight? It's October the 1st. Well, it's sad about them shootings today at that school out there. Prayers be with them families out there. Well, that's sad. But this is where we're going to start seeing all this gun stuff come up again. Well, let's look at reality, folks. I mean, guns ain't the problem. If you take guns away, they're just going to use knives. If you take that away, they're going to use something else. Parents is the problem. I mean, you look back in anything below what? The year 2000? From 2000 and back, you didn't have stuff like this going on in schools. Especially in the 80s and 90s when we went to school. I mean, I think the whole time that I went to school, and I went to Etowah High School, graduated in 1988. And my whole school life, we only had one guy, and he was just a bad apple out of the bunch. Run across the football field over at Etowah and stabbed a guy, and it was just minor. And because he'd bought what he thought was marijuana, and apparently he bought tea leaves. I don't know how many of you folks remember that, but that's out of 13 years of school. I mean, you're gonna have one bad person out of a bunch, I guess. But look at the ways it's being done nowadays. Rights is being taken away from the parents. The world's stepping in, going, okay, this is abuse. You can't paddle your kid. You can't put a belt on your kid. I listen to the police scanners with the business I'm in. And right here in Woodstock, and a lot of it comes from Town Lake Parkway over here. And but I hear a lot of time on a police scanner where a parent, a lot of times it's the father, and that's what amazes me. And then sometimes it's the mother, where the parents call 911. My 8, 9, 10, 12, 14-year-old kid's out of control. Could y'all please come out here and do something? What kind of bull crap is that? Be a parent. Teach your kids right from wrong. Discipline them. A kid is a kid under the age of 18. A kid is not an adult until really 21. But 18, I think, is the law. And he's living in your household, folks. If he does something, whoop him. Paddle him. Or her. Stick their nose in the corner. After the first few times, you can almost just give a look or say a word. And then they know they've done wrong. And not even have to actually go through the whooping process. You've got to teach right from wrong. And even though that's taught, there's still going to be some kids that just don't comprehend or don't care. That's understandable. But not like the huge groups of today. And what's going on? We all know what's going on. Parents are out partying, or whatever reasons, or whatever they're doing. And the kids left at home are raising theirself. And that ain't no way to be a child. That ought to be considered abandonment. I mean, abandonment of a parent. You cannot leave the kid and let the kid raise himself. But that's what's going on in the world today. The kids are left at home for whatever reason, and they've got to raise theirself. And then you got the grandparents that should be the grandparents. They should be a babysitter. And they're having a parent be a parent all over again. And there's a lot of grandparents out there raising their grandkids. And their retirement, the easy life, the getting to relax, I raise my kids. is over with because they're having to take the responsibility and raise their grandkids because their kids are either on drugs or don't care. And that's good that the kids is with the grandparents. I mean, that's good. Maybe the grandparents whoop them, teach them right from wrong. Schools don't even paddle no more. I mean, what kind of bull crap is that? Letting the kids think they can just call the police on their parents. I mean, what kind of BS is that? They're a kid. They live in your house. You brought them into the world. If you want to party, go out, don't have kids. Put your life on hold. Nothing's no more important than raising your child and raising your child correctly. You can have your life after that job is done. And this day and age we're in now, it don't take long for that time to come and go. They grow up fast nowadays. Time flies by like that. So it ain't like you're going to be doing it forever. Just put your life on hold, go to work, whatever. Come home, tend to your kids, raise your kids, teach them right from wrong. Don't leave them there by themselves to raise themselves. I think that's what a lot's going on in the world. Kids are raising themselves, doing what they want to do, or watching TV because they're by themselves. Violence on TV and everything. We had violence on TV when we were kids. But we didn't have all this BS going on. We didn't have people going in schools and shooting everybody. I mean, it's more than just a gun problem. It ain't the guns, I mean. It's the parents. It's the parents' duly responsibility to raise their kids. And if they don't want to for whatever reasons, that's fine. There's caring families out there that would like a baby, would like a kid. And they would do the right thing. They would spend time with the kid every single day, teach it right from wrong and raise it. But they can't because they, for whatever reasons, can't have a child. There's plenty of them out there. So if you don't want to do your job, then do your kid a favor. Put him in a loving home somewhere for adoption. Instead of them just sitting at home by themselves day in, day out, having to raise theirself. I mean, that does a lot of harm to a child right there. I mean, that's the reason why kids think they're adults nowadays. They don't have no respect for adults. They want to talk to, I've seen a lot of them talk to an adult any way they want to. And they ought to get their damn act. Well, I don't want to use a cuss word. I mean, everybody says curse words, but I don't believe in cursing in front of a lady, and there's going to be ladies watching this, so I'm not going to use a curse word, but y'all get the idea. I mean, paddling. I mean, I just don't see what the world, is going on with the world today. I mean, we had violence on TV, we had scary movies, we had monster movies. One thing you did not see on TV when we were kids, you didn't turn the TV on and see a commercial with a naked woman in the shower shaving her legs or in her panties. You didn't see that on commercial TV like you do nowadays. The generations are going on before us has got to be turned around and corrected somehow. I don't know how that could be achieved or be done. But things need to go back to the old ways in the old days. I mean, now you got computers. You got kids doing their homework on computers. They use Microsoft Word or whatever program. Some of them types, I bet a lot of it's copied and paste sections, but still, the point is, whether they type it or not, is the generations actually getting dumber by the technology that we're just letting them use like this. I mean, because let's look at it, Microsoft Word. It's got spelling and grammar corrections for you right there, the computer does. So the kids is not really learning to spell correctly. They need to go back to the old ways and old days. Kid gets in trouble, give him a paddling at school. Teach him right from wrong. Parents can't have kids leave the kids at home to raise themselves and expect the school system to teach them right from wrong. It don't work that way. The school system has got so much on their plate now, they shouldn't have to be teaching right from wrong as their parents' responsibility. The parent should or should not be a parent. I mean, and I actually hear this stuff on the scanner where they call in. Could you come out? I can't do nothing with my 9-year-old. Take your belt off and straighten that 9-year-old out. Another thing I think's probably going on is a lot of parents don't want to deal with the activities. Child's got energy. They're going to have energy. They're like little Duracell batteries. We all used to be like that until we got older. So I think a lot of parents takes their kids and say, oh, my kid's got ADD. He needs to take his pill or whatever. Probably ain't even needed. I mean, some situations may be. But I guarantee you a lot of them probably don't even need it. It's just the parent don't want to deal with the activity or to calm their son down or be more peaceful on them, I think. Or their daughter. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but it don't take an idiot to look around and see what's going on. And the way the world's going into now, I mean, you got all these shootings that's broken out in school and all this, and it's ridiculous. That's the parent's fault. How does the kid even get to the gun to begin with? To even get a gun? I mean, I was raised around guns. My dad taught us how to shoot guns. He took us out in the woods. We went hunting. But we knew better to touch them guns if they was not at home. And we didn't just go get the gun if they were at home and go outside and shoot it by ourselves either. Whether it was BB gun, pellet gun, 22 rifles, 12 gauge shotgun, or 30-06. You got to supervise your kids. You got to assume some responsibility. Parents ought to start being held accountable. Like somebody's dog, I mean, you got leash laws. And there's a lot of people don't even adhere to the leash laws. And you got dogs biting people. Well, they're starting to hold the owners accountable for what that dog done. Because there is a leash law. Well, they need to be a parent law. Whatever their kids do, the parent ought to be held responsible to a point. And those situations are going to have to be taken by situation, because there's just going to be some kids, regardless of what you do, that's just going to turn out to be bad. I mean, it's a shame to say that, but everybody's not going to be perfect or want to be perfect. Or not going to want to do right from wrong or adhere to it. There's just going to be some of them like it. But what all is going on now, there's too many of them. There's too many a year doing this stuff. There's been too many kids die over the past on account of this stuff. And it's basically lack of parenting or no parenting at all, I think. It ain't got nothing to do with guns. I mean, you take the gun away, well, you got a knife. They're going to use a knife. If you take the knife away, they're going to take a bottle and break a piece of glass. I mean, you can't stop something from happening. If somebody wants to do something, they're going to do it. Regardless. The only thing stricter gun laws is going to do is it's going to open up a black market for guns just like it is on the drugs now. And I'm doing this video because I did type a bulletin earlier about this. And I know a lot of things can be taken the wrong way on a bulletin. It's like when you send somebody a text message. A text message could be taken the wrong way than what it was really intended for. I'm not down on anybody. I'm not trying to down anybody or make anybody feel bad. But in reality, I mean, something has got to be done. And it ain't more gun control that's going to fix it. It's going to be parents. The parents need to be parents. And I don't think that's really being done correctly. Not like it used to be. I mean, back when we were all kids, I mean, I'm 46 years old. Ain't like I'm old as Methuselah. I'm 46. I was born in 69. I graduated in 88. And we didn't have all these shootings going on. We didn't have people walking into school, killing people. Like I said, the whole time I went to school, we had one guy stabbed in high school, and it's just a minor thing. Had a lot of fights. People's going to disagree and getting fights. But nothing like they are nowadays. I think schools need to go back to paddlings. Computers need to be taken away from the kids. They shouldn't be taking cell phones to school. I mean, what happened when we didn't have cell phones back in, and we didn't have computers back in. But we had football games, electronic little retro games, they call them nowadays. And if we took that stuff to school, what did teachers do? They took it away from you. It was not allowed in school. School is school to learn. A computer's not learning a kid. I mean, if he does his report on the computer, it's got spelling, grammar, check, and all that. I mean, hell, if I had computer technology they got today, I would have been a straight A honor roll student when I was in school, because 90% of it's going to be cheating. They need to go back to the pen and paper, write their reports, write their stories, do it all on pencil and paper. If they want to take a computer class, let them take a computer class. But don't let them do their homework and everything else on a computer and print it off on a printer. That's laziness. The world is getting lazier. The parents are getting lazier. And the grandparents are having to step up to the bat and be parents to their grandkids. And that's a shame. I mean, the grandparents raised us. There will be a time for them to retire, relax, babysit, and come and visit. They shouldn't have to raise somebody else's kids. But a lot of times they do, in a lot of situations they probably need to, especially if drugs or something's involved. And I'm not saying anybody's bad, anybody can change. I'm not wanting to judge anybody. I don't want anybody to take the video the wrong way. But in reality, folks, I mean, as technology gets smarter, is the world going to get dumber? I mean, you look at GPS. We didn't have GPS back in. We'd buy a map book if we didn't know where we was going and look it up. And plan our route on a piece of paper. And drive there. I was in Woodstock over here at Burger Arena, Highway 5 and 92 last week. Standing in the parking lot right there. I literally had a man pull up and asked me where Woodstock was, Highway 92. That's what TomTom and all them GPSs do for you. They're good. They were designed mostly for businesses like FedEx doing deliveries and stuff like that. And then people got them to go on vacations or places they'd never been, out of state. But when you live locally and you're not learning the street names of your local area, don't you find that a problem? I mean, what's going to happen down the road if everything's relied onto upon computer to get you the here and there? Nobody's going to know no main street names or know their local area. Nobody's going to know how to do coordinates without a computer. And that's ridiculous. The world needs to go back to being the old world. TV really ain't much different from back then. The only thing that I think they needed to probably do on TV is the bra and panty commercials probably needs to go to HBO and Showtime. Because back then, I mean, we didn't see anything bad. I remember the first time I ever seen anything bad, I watched that movie Animal House I think I was about 13, 14. Mom and Dad was outside. And they left it on HBO, and that movie Animal House come on, and he was on that ladder hopping across the window there when she was upstairs, changed her shirt and took her bra off. And but you didn't see that stuff like that on regular TV, like you do nowadays. And you do see it nowadays on regular TV. And I know times is going to change. But certain things in times need to change. It don't need to make things worse. And the way times is changing now, hell, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Everything's getting made to be worse. I mean, let alone you got kids killing kids nowadays. It ain't just a few. I mean, this has been happening a lot. Every year, every couple of years, I mean, massive killings. And usually it's more than one person doing it. So, I mean, parenting needs to begin. The world needs to step out and go, hey, don't be called 911 because your parents is fixing to whoop you. Now, if they're beating you, that's a different story. But whooping somebody with a paddle or a belt or making them stick their nose in the corner because they done wrong, they need to learn right from wrong. Now, if you got child abuse, then that's a different story. But discipline a kid because he done something wrong, whether it be a paddling or a whooping, ain't child abuse. It's called parenting. It's called parenting the way we got parented when we were kids. And that generation was a whole lot better of a generation than we're putting out nowadays. And we're just letting our generation somehow is falling through the cracks. So letting other generations jump up and change the world in a worse way. A lot of things in the world needs to be changed, needs to be better, I agree. But the way things is going down here lately, it's like the world's just going into the wrong direction. I mean, what's going to happen on the spelling bees? I mean, you ain't going to have as many students wanting to do spelling bees or not even really know how to spell because they use a computer to check their spelling and grammar. And their paragraphs probably want to know how to write a sentence on a piece of paper. That stuff shouldn't be done. Let them use the computer for other things, but not schoolwork. Buy them a notebook. Make them take their notes. Write their notes down. They shouldn't have cell phones in school. I may be a little strict, but I guarantee you, my son's 23-year-old. But I guarantee you, if I had a son or daughter, and they was 10, 12, 13, 14-year-old, they would have the oldest telephone I could buy on a cell phone. I'd want them to have a cell phone that way if they got in a situation with another group of kids that are hanging out somewhere and needed my help. I'd want them to be able to call me. So I definitely want them to have a cell phone. But I wouldn't give them a cell phone with a camera on it, no. Kids gonna be kids. They're gonna do things. Some things gonna ruin a kid's life or give them that much more trouble and hell or reputation in school. Just by sending a picture because they hadn't done it before of being goofy and then ruining their reputation, especially with a female, depending on her picture she takes. But y'all all kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about. I mean, and I think I'm probably not the only one that sees this stuff, but we're going to see a lot about gun control, this or that. Let's take the gun rights away and all this BS, and that's just BS. I mean, because weapons are weapons, regardless of what it is. I mean, you can take a handsaw, go outside and cut a limb down and make you a spear. I mean, if somebody wants to do something, I mean, they're going to do it regardless of what they can get a hold of. If they can't get a hold of a gun, they're going to get a hold of something else. But it needs to start with the parenting. And I think that's what a lot wrong with these kids' generations coming out today. It's the parenting. Parents don't want to be parents, or they're afraid to be the parents. I mean, and I'm not BSing when I hear it on a police scanner. I listen to the police scanner, City of Woodstock and Cherokee County and the GSP and all of them. And I listen to it daily. And I have heard numerous times 911 calls where a grown man calling 911. Yeah, can you send an officer out here? I can't do nothing with my kid. There's something wrong there. When a grown parent does that, there's something wrong. And that's crazy. I couldn't even imagine, hell, when I was growing up, I mean, I got my butt whooped and everything else when I done wrong. And then a lot of times they could just look at me or tell me, and I knew when they were mad, and I knew better not to do it. And, but you didn't have kids calling 911. Not unless it was really an emergency of them getting beat or something like that. And that was really rare. Times have changed, I know, but why? When times change, times ought to be changing for the better, not for the worse. And the way things is going, times changing for the worse. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to upload this video. I hadn't even realized I've been talking for 26 minutes. But I'm 14th generation born here in Woodstock, Georgia. And parents need to be parents. They need to raise their kids and stop letting the kids raise themselves, basically. And some of the technology just needs to be took away at certain points. I mean, these game systems, I mean, let alone the kills and stuff like that. The new kids' generation's gotten lazy. They don't even hardly want to go outside anymore. You have to force and make them go outside. I remember when I was a kid, when it got daylight, especially on the weekend, I was outside just as soon as it was daylight and didn't want to come back in until nighttime. They'd have to make me come back in. And that was the way it was with all of us kids. We got out there, we played football, baseball, soccer, and all that. Just out in the yard, we done that stuff. We entertained ourselves. Stayed active. Now you got these kids on these game systems, and we had Atari back then, but we didn't sit there like they are nowadays. And a lot of these kids nowadays, they just sit there in the house. They don't even go outside. They're just a lazy generation. I mean, I've seen parents push mow in the grass, and they got a teenage son sitting in there damn watching TV. Now, what is wrong with that picture? You want to teach your kids and try to give your kids better than what you had. Everybody wants to do that. Or everybody should want to do that. I mean, that's the way I was. I raised my kid, and I wanted to be better than I was and have better than I did when I was growing up. And he does. And I knock on wood, I've never had no problems with my son. He got a couple whoopings when he was growing up. I didn't have to whoop him all that much. But I got the right and wrong across to him, and he turned out to be a good kid. And there's a lot more kids in this world that can turn out to be a whole lot more better than they are if they had them same kind of principles put on them instead of them raising themselves. They're at home by themselves, doing what they want to do, watch TV what they want to, talking on the phone what they want to do, basically raising themselves. So it's like they've had to turn from a kid and been robbed of their childhood. And they had to turn into a little miniature adult, figure things out for themselves because their parents are off God knows where. I know a lot of parents, it takes two to work. Okay, it takes two people to work. Get a babysitter. Don't leave the kid at home by himself to raise himself and all that. I mean, that does a whole lot of damage. People don't even realize. And apparently it's being shown around the world today how much damage it does. Parents one time probably thought, well, teach my kid to be more responsible, stuff like that. Well, folks, I hate to tell you, You turn the news on and see that's all wrong. It ain't making them be more responsible or nothing else. It's just turning a bunch more out. That's bad. All of them don't turn out that way. I understand that. But still, regardless how they turn out, they need parents in their life on a daily basis. They need to be taught with love. They need to be whooped, spanked, whatever. Taught right from wrong. Taught family values. They should be let at home turn to a little miniature adult. I mean, you're robbing them of their childhood. They don't know how to be a child. I mean, because the only thing they know how to do was like they were dropped off in the jungle and they're having to fend for themselves. But that was just my right to speak, I guess, and I figured the video will probably come across better. I hope it does. I mean, I don't make nobody mad, but I know I'm not the only one that sees this kind of stuff. Technology should take us to a better spot, but the way things is going, it's just like the world's going to get dumber on me. You letting all the schoolwork stuff be done on computers and all that, with spelling, grammar check and all that. And you got all this GPS BS out there where they're using it to go from their house to the store. They ain't even learning the street names. I mean, how many people's lived here 20 years in Woodstock and you go, hey, I know where this road here is, Dobbs Road off Arnold Mill. Hell, I bet a lot of them don't even know the name of Arnold Mill, and they've been down it a million times going to this church over here in Woodstock. I mean, that's because of GPS. So don't that mean that the people in the world is actually getting dumber instead of smarter? Because they're relying on the technology instead of relying on themselves and learning with their mind instead of letting technology do it for them. Okay, I think it's long enough. Well, that's all I wanted to say.